Operation Knightfall on Coruscant marked one of the most pivotal and devastating moments in the galaxy's history, encapsulating a carefully orchestrated military operation driven by betrayal, precision, and overwhelming force. This event, set against the backdrop of the final hours of the Clone Wars, involved the execution of Order 66 and the subsequent assault on the Jedi Temple, an act that decimated the Jedi Order and solidified the rise of the Galactic Empire. The operation was led by Darth Vader, formerly Anakin Skywalker, alongside the elite 501st Legion, with significant support from the Coruscant Guard. The scale, logistics, and tactics employed during this mission reveal the ruthlessness and meticulous planning that ensured its grim success. The scale of Operation Knightfall was unprecedented, particularly for an urban battlefield. The Jedi Temple was not just a spiritual hub for the Jedi Order, but also a heavily fortified complex designed to repel any attack. Its towering spires, advanced security systems, and the presence of numerous skilled Jedi Knights and Padawans made it a fortress in its own right. Overcoming such defenses required careful preparation and a level of coordination that only a force as disciplined and experienced as the 501st Legion could achieve. The involvement of the Coruscant Guard, a unit specializing in maintaining security on the galaxy's most densely populated world, ensured local support and tactical adaptability during the operation. The logistics behind the attack were formidable, reflecting the scale and complexity of the mission. Transporting a significant number of clone troopers and heavy equipment through the sprawling, densely populated city planet without arousing suspicion required careful planning. The clones were mobilized under the guise of routine troop movements, exploiting the chaos and confusion of the waning Clone Wars to mask their true intentions. Military-grade transports such as LAAT/I gunships were utilized to deliver forces directly to the temple grounds, bypassing many of the city's civilian and commercial traffic zones. The Coruscant Guard played a key role in ensuring that civilian interference was minimized, deploying checkpoints and patrols around the temple's perimeter to maintain order and isolate the battlefield. Darth Vader's leadership during the operation was critical to its success. Once a Jedi Knight himself, Vader's intimate knowledge of the temple's layout, security systems, and defensive protocols gave the attackers a decisive advantage. His personal involvement also served to demoralize the Jedi defenders, many of whom were unprepared to face one of their most skilled warriors turned enemy. Vader's role was not only symbolic but also tactical, as he led the vanguard of the attack, confronting and eliminating key Jedi combatants while the clones swept through the temple to secure objectives and neutralize resistance. The tactics employed by the 501st Legion and their coordination with the Coruscant Guard showcased a blend of overwhelming firepower, tactical precision, and psychological warfare. The initial assault was swift and decisive, with clone forces deploying in concentrated waves to breach the temple's outer defenses. Heavy weapons teams targeted fortified positions and defensive emplacements, creating breaches for infantry units to exploit. Specialized clone units, including engineers and explosives experts, dismantled barriers and deactivated security measures, ensuring a steady advance into the heart of the temple. Inside the temple, the battle became a brutal close-quarters engagement. The Jedi, although formidable combatants, were vastly outnumbered and caught off guard by the sheer scale of the attack. The 501st Legion utilized suppressive fire, flanking maneuvers, and thermal detonators to overcome resistance, while Vader personally engaged the most skilled Jedi in lightsaber combat. The psychological impact of seeing a former Jedi Knight leading the assault cannot be understated. Many defenders hesitated or faltered, unable to reconcile the betrayal with their deeply held beliefs. Coordination between the 501st and the Coruscant Guard extended beyond the immediate battlefield. While the 501st focused on the assault itself, the Coruscant Guard managed perimeter security and logistical support. Their presence ensured that no reinforcements could reach the temple and that no Jedi could escape the cordon. The Guard also suppressed any civilian unrest that arose as news of the attack spread, maintaining order in the surrounding districts and preventing distractions that could compromise the operation. As the battle progressed, the 501st Legion adapted their tactics to the changing situation within the temple. Jedi defenders, though overwhelmed, mounted pockets of resistance, utilizing their knowledge of the terrain and superior combat skills to stage ambushes and delay the attackers. The clones responded with coordinated room-clearing maneuvers, employing grenades, blaster fire, and shields to neutralize threats systematically. Vader's presence continued to be a decisive factor as he relentlessly pursued high-value targets, including members of the Jedi Council and Temple leadership. The operation also highlighted the strategic use of deception and misdirection. The clones exploited their familiarity with the Jedi to predict their tactics and responses. For instance, they anticipated that some Jedi would attempt to protect the younglings and key artifacts within the temple, allowing the attackers to focus their efforts on these likely strongpoints. This level of insight, coupled with the overwhelming numerical superiority of the attackers, ensured that the Jedi defenders were consistently outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. In the aftermath of the assault, the scale of the devastation became apparent. The Jedi Temple was left in ruins, its once proud halls littered with the bodies of Jedi Knights, Padawans, and younglings. The surviving clones secured the temple, ensuring that no evidence of the operation's true nature would reach the broader public. Propaganda efforts by the newly declared Emperor Palpatine framed the attack as a necessary response to a Jedi uprising, further consolidating the Empire's control over the galaxy. The success of Operation Knightfall can be attributed to several key factors: the strategic brilliance and ruthless determination of Darth Vader, the disciplined execution of orders by the 501st Legion, and the logistical and tactical support provided by the Coruscant Guard. Together, these elements combined to deliver a decisive blow to the Jedi Order, ensuring that the Emperor's vision of a Sith-dominated galaxy would come to fruition. This operation, though a single event, symbolized the beginning of the end for the Republic and the dawn of the Empire, a transformation achieved through bloodshed, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of power. The 501st Legion and the Coruscant Guard coordinated seamlessly to surround and breach the Jedi Temple with military precision. This phase of Operation Knightfall showcased a well-executed encirclement and entry plan that neutralized the Jedi's ability to respond effectively. The tactics employed ensured that no Jedi could escape the temple, and the assault was carried out with ruthless efficiency. The Coruscant Guard was tasked with establishing a secure perimeter around the Jedi Temple. This involved deploying squads to key access points leading in and out of the area. Using their extensive knowledge of Coruscant's urban terrain, they set up roadblocks, patrolled nearby districts, and utilized scout droids to monitor potential escape routes. Their aim was twofold: to prevent Jedi reinforcements from arriving, and to ensure that no Jedi or Temple personnel could flee undetected. Civilians in the vicinity were either dispersed or detained, under the pretense of maintaining public safety during a supposed internal Jedi conflict. This misinformation played a significant role in preventing the local population from interfering. The 501st Legion, meanwhile, concentrated its forces for the main assault. Heavily armed and equipped, the clones used an array of LAT/I gunships to land troops directly at strategic positions around the temple. These transport ships provided air support during the initial stages of the operation, targeting defensive emplacements and creating an opening for the ground assault. Heavy weaponry, including AT-RT walkers and portable turbolaser platforms, was deployed to bolster their firepower and ensure they could counter any Jedi-led counterattacks. The entry plan was carefully designed to overwhelm the temple's defenses from multiple directions. While the main force advanced directly up the temple's grand staircase, a secondary group flanked from less fortified access points, such as maintenance tunnels and lesser-used service entrances. This two-pronged approach prevented the Jedi from concentrating their defenses in one area, forcing them to divide their already limited numbers. The main assault was spearheaded by Darth Vader himself, accompanied by the most heavily armed elements of the 501st. As the clones ascended the steps, they moved in tight, overlapping formations, utilizing cover and suppressive fire to neutralize Jedi sentries and automated turrets stationed along the temple's exterior. Vader's presence at the forefront of the attack served as both a tactical and psychological weapon, with his lightsaber cutting through defenders and his force abilities creating openings for the troops to advance. Simultaneously, the flanking teams breached the temple's perimeter through explosive charges and slicing into the temple's security systems. The clones' superior technology and premeditated strategy allowed them to bypass many of the temple's safeguards with alarming efficiency. Inside, they faced less resistance initially, as many Jedi had rushed to confront the main force at the grand entrance. This division of Jedi defenses played directly into the attackers' hands. As the clones pushed deeper into the temple, their movements were synchronized with the Coruscant Guard outside, who continued to patrol the perimeter and monitor for any attempts at escape. The Guard's communications network relayed critical intelligence to the 501st, ensuring that no gaps in the cordon could be exploited. At the same time, the Guard deployed their own forces into nearby areas to manage any civilian unrest, maintaining an atmosphere of control around the operation. The 501st's entry into the temple itself was marked by calculated brutality. They secured key choke points, such as hallways, staircases, and atriums, to cut off the defenders' mobility. Clone engineers sealed off sections of the temple, trapping Jedi within isolated areas and preventing them from regrouping. The troops operated with a level of precision honed by years of battle experience during the Clone Wars, employing tactics specifically designed to counter the Jedi's abilities. For instance, squads used squad-based suppressive fire to neutralize Jedi who relied on their lightsabers to deflect incoming blaster bolts, while snipers targeted Jedi attempting to outmaneuver the clones. The assault team prioritized key objectives within the temple. The council chambers, archives, and the training rooms for younglings were all targeted in a methodical sweep. The attack was relentless, leaving the Jedi little time to mount a cohesive defense. Within hours, the temple was overrun, its defenders either killed or subdued, and the operation moved into its final stages of securing the structure and eradicating any remaining resistance. The successful coordination between the 501st Legion and the Coruscant Guard ensured that the Jedi Temple's formidable defenses were rendered ineffective. Their combined efforts not only guaranteed the tactical success of the assault, but also reinforced the broader narrative of the Empire's rise to dominance. This meticulous execution of Order 66 on Coruscant stands as a grim testament to the power of strategic coordination and the devastating impact of betrayal. The logistics of Operation Knightfall reveal the staggering scale of coordination, manpower, and resources required to execute such a monumental task. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant was a sprawling, fortified complex capable of housing thousands of Jedi, including high-ranking masters, skilled knights, Padawans in training, and even younglings. Furthermore, its location in the heart of the galaxy's capital, surrounded by dense urban development and teeming civilian populations, presented a significant operational challenge. The execution of this operation required not only overwhelming firepower but also a massive deployment of troops to ensure complete control over the temple and its surroundings. To fully neutralize the Jedi Temple and maintain security across the surrounding districts, it would have necessitated the deployment of at least 100,000 clone troopers, if not more. This estimate takes into account the multifaceted demands of the operation: direct assault forces, perimeter security, crowd control, logistical support, and contingency units to address unforeseen developments. The assault force itself, led by Darth Vader and the 501st Legion, comprised several thousand elite clone troopers. These soldiers were specifically chosen for their combat experience, discipline, and unwavering loyalty to the Republic and, by extension, to Palpatine. However, even with their skill and numbers, they were only the vanguard of the operation. Supporting them were reserve forces stationed strategically around the temple, ready to reinforce the front lines or respond to unexpected resistance. Beyond the direct assault, a significant number of troops were allocated to the Coruscant Guard to manage the broader logistics and security of the operation. This included establishing and maintaining a secure perimeter around the temple, managing the civilian population in adjacent districts, and preventing potential interference from other factions or individuals loyal to the Jedi. The Guard also played a crucial role in coordinating with planetary infrastructure to ensure that communications, transportation systems, and public utilities in the area remained under Imperial control, minimizing the risk of external disruptions. Transporting such a large number of troops and equipment to the heart of Coruscant without raising suspicion required meticulous planning and execution. The movement of clone forces was staggered and disguised as routine troop rotations or training exercises. Military-grade transport ships, including Venator-class Star Destroyers stationed in orbit, facilitated the deployment of personnel and heavy equipment. LAAT/I gunships provided rapid insertion capabilities for frontline troops, while larger freighters and supply ships delivered the necessary provisions, munitions, and reinforcements to sustain the operation. The sheer logistics of supplying over 100,000 clone troopers posed its own set of challenges. Each soldier required rations, medical supplies, and ammunition for the duration of the operation. Additionally, the deployment of heavy equipment such as AT-RT walkers, turbolaser emplacements, and demolitions gear necessitated a robust supply chain. Command centers were established both on the ground and aboard orbiting ships to coordinate these logistics, ensuring that units in the field had access to the resources they needed without delay. Another critical logistical aspect was the coordination of intelligence and communication. The success of the operation hinged on precise timing and synchronization across all units. Commanders relied on advanced holographic communication networks to relay orders in real time, while reconnaissance teams used probe droids and other surveillance equipment to gather intel on the Jedi's movements and defensive positions. The Coruscant Guard's local knowledge further enhanced the clones' situational awareness, allowing for rapid adjustments to the operational plan as conditions evolved. The need for redundancy and contingency planning further inflated the logistical demands. For every soldier actively engaged in the assault or maintaining the perimeter, additional personnel were kept on standby to address unexpected developments, such as a larger-than-anticipated Jedi resistance or the intervention of sympathetic forces within the city. These reserve units were strategically positioned in nearby districts, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. The operation's reliance on overwhelming numbers and resources was not merely a practical necessity but also a deliberate strategy to ensure the complete eradication of the Jedi. By deploying such a massive force, the Empire sent a clear message about its power and resolve. This overwhelming show of force left no room for doubt or hope of resistance, cementing the Jedi's downfall and demonstrating the futility of opposing the new regime. In conclusion, the scale and complexity of Operation Knightfall required an extraordinary level of logistical planning and execution. Mobilizing more than 100,000 clone troopers, along with the necessary equipment, supplies, and infrastructure, underscored the Empire's commitment to achieving its goals with absolute certainty. The operation's success was a testament to the military efficiency of the Republic's clone army and the meticulous planning of Palpatine's grand design for the galaxy.